Have you guys heard of Vivitar? Vivitar, little name right up here. It's kind of reminds you of something like wild and crazy out of the 60s, right? Vivitar. It's like maybe the maker of some television sets or some wild and crazy nightclub somewhere.
Oh, behave. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Or maybe a video game, but of course they didn't have video games in the 60s and 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You know, Vivitar has been around a long time. You may have heard of them, you may not have. They're worth finding out about. So let's do it together, right? Come on with me and let's look at a couple of little Vivitars that I have in my collection here. So pull up a chair and let's get it on.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. All right, this week we're going again back in vintage world. V for vintage, V for Vivitar. That's right, Vivitar. You may have heard of them, you may have not. For one thing, they've been around a long time. They're not anymore, even though the name is still used here and there these days. But as a company, they were 70 years in the photography business. They started in 1938. A couple of guys, Max Ponder and John Best. Some German dudes from, guess where? That's right, Germany.
Holy crap!
1938, Germany. What was going on at that time? So, again, a couple of guys looking to get out of Germany and, find their fortunes elsewhere. So they came to America and decided to get into photography. So what they did is they began as distributors. And, they were distributing Olympus and Rolei. How do you say it?
Six.
Anyway, I got a Rolei cord up here as an example of that. And, so forth and so on. They were basically distributing a whole whack of different cameras and lenses and accessories and so on and so forth. And in, they created their distribution business as Ponder and Best. That was their thing. And then they started, making some deals with some of these manufacturers back in Japan, and got licensing from the lens manufacturers to put their own name on these lenses, and were selling them off as Ponder and Best, even though they were, manufactured as, Tokina or Kiran or Komin or Cosina or any of the others in Japan, but they were putting their own label on it, so to speak. They're rebranding. But in 1964, they lost their Rolei distribution rights, and kind of forced their hand into having to try a little harder. And so they came up with the name Vivitar and changed Ponder and Best to Vivitar, and went full blown into rebranding all the different manufacturers that they could find who were willing to work with them. And again, that was Tokina, Kiran, Komin, Norita, Cosina, Kobori, however you say that, I don't know. Sigma, you know them. Perkins and Elmer. Can't think of anybody else they rebranded with. But anyway, they gave up distributing other people's stuff and just started doing their own thing. And along the way, too, they purchased their own optics manufacturer in Stamford, Connecticut, called Opcon, and that's when they tried their hand at actually designing their own Vivitar branded lenses. and they called these Series 1, and they were kind of their top of the line versions of these lenses that we have. I don't have any Series 1s, they're more expensive. The Vivitars are very economical, so that's kind of where I fit into the scene here. As I told you many times, modesty photography, you know, we're here to save you money. So that's one thing. In vintage lenses, you can get some Vivitars at some really killer deals, and they're decent lenses. You know, again, they're made by all the best Japanese manufacturers at the time, you know. So anyway, 1979, they changed their name, again, added corporation to it, so they're Vivitar Corporation. And they went on, you know, full speed ahead doing what they do. And then Hanimex, you remember, or you may or may not have seen my my top core, auto top core videos. You know, I got a 35, 58, got the big 58 there, 1.4. Killer lens. Anyway, Hanimex bought them out in 1985, and the company was bought and sold back and forth a number of different times until 2008. I forget who the last owner was, but they basically went bankrupt. So therefore, Vivitar went bankrupt along with them, and that was the end. 1938 to 2008. That's 70 years. That's a long time. With all the success that they had in the business. So anyway, I have two lenses that are Vivitars. I have a 28 f2 that is pretty good. You know, I'm going to be demonstrating these my usual way, which is taking a shot wide open at f2 of the my Canon M50, which is filming this video. I always focus in on the end of the kit lens, which is a 15 to 45 EFM lens, and give you a shot of that. And then, of course, I give you some samples of using them around the house here in Ho Chi Minh City lockdown. Hey, today, now of course you don't see this video for 4 weeks or 5 weeks from now, but today is October 1st. And today, well, a few things. October 1st, the government's letting people shop around and letting shippers move around the city. I think that's a mistake in my opinion. I mean, we still have 8,000 new cases popping up every day. So I don't think it's a good time to let people start wandering around. But that's besides the point. But today is also my 10-year anniversary for moving to Vietnam. September 30th, yesterday, was my birthday. Ooh, whole bunch of stuff going on. So, Vivitar, let's celebrate that for a second. So I'll be giving you some shots around the house with Dylan, of course, my little model. Aww. He's free. It's the best kind of model you can get. And so I'll be showing you those shots as well. So, you know, again, this is the 28 f2. You know, this one is the last version of this. There were 3 different versions of this particular lens before this one. This is made in 1979. 1979. I was in 9th grade, just going into high school at that time. You know, again, it's a great little lens made by, you know, again, a plethora of different manufacturers out there. The best ones were Kiran and Komin, I do believe, were the 2 better ones out of the bunch. And this one I have here is a Komin 1 version. And you know, again, going through the specs on this thing, 8 elements in 8 groups. My close focus on this is 30 centimeters. There's 6 blades. What else can I tell you? 284 grams. You know, again, it's a decent quality. It's not the best in the world. Again, vintage lenses aren't going to blow your socks off with how fabulous they are if you compare them to today's lenses. But bang for your buck, you know, if you could pick up something like this for 10 bucks or 15 bucks or 20 bucks, hey, all the power to you. So, as I said, let me get you a shot. So this is at f2, wide open. Get you a shot of the end of the kit lens I have in front of me here. So let me get as nice tight focus as I can on it. Looks pretty sharp right there. 1, 2, 3. And again, this is not known for its fabulous sharpness, but so that's at f2. Let's go to 5.6, where again a lot of vintage lenses kind of have their sweet spot. So same thing. Let me increase my exposure as well to get me. Alright, so let me focus in on the end of the lens, which should be right about there. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that was f2 and f5.6. So here are those shots. And here are the shots of this lens. Not the shots of this lens, the shots of Dylan using this lens. Okay, so that was my 28 f2. Again, sweet lens. Again, as you know, with everything else, as many different manufacturers they had with these, they came in all kinds of different mounts as well. This 28 is Olympus mount. They came in M42s, Pentax mounts. They came in Olympus, Minolta, and a handful of others on top of that. Again, that was really Vivitar's trick of the trade, is giving the consumers what they needed for a relatively cheap price. If you look at the price of these things back in the day, they were pretty economical. I mean, they're much more so today. Now let me talk about the 135. So this is my 135 f2.8, and it's in a Minolta mount. So of course, each one of these, I have obviously an OM to NEX adapter. This is an MD to NEX adapter to be able to use it on my Sony a7R II. So again, nothing new I'm going to tell you about Vivitar. So let me just jump right into the 135. This particular one is an much older version of this, and you can tell by the ribbed focus ring on this little tiny, like if you're thinking of corduroy pants, going back to the 60s again. These would be very thin whale, as they call them. So again, very fine ridges on the focus ring, versus the rubberized diamond shaped focus ring, which is a later version of everything. So this one actually made 1969. So it's a much older lens, and again, this one's made by Tokina, and it comes with actually, let me take that off to show you. So if I take this is the Minolta to NEX adapter, take that off. Here you can see, if I can just get it to work properly. Nothing ever works when you want it to. So you see, if you just push the little lever, you can move the lock to open, and you can take off the bottom ring. Now again, this is Minolta, and then Tokina made, well, actually Vivitar, because it's even got the Vivitar label on there. They made these adapter rings for for all the different manufacturing mounts. So therefore, you just buy a mount for $10 or so, and fit it on there, lock it in place, and voila, it is where it is. And then put that on. So how convenient is that? It has its own hood. Not that it's very long, but sometimes they come in all shapes and sizes.
So many different sizes.
So, is it long? Is it too long? Is it not long enough?
That's what she said.
That's up to you. So anyway, back to what we're talking about here. Again, I'm going to shoot this wide open. It's the first time I've ever noticed that. You can actually, this is wide open. You can actually move one way or the other. This closes it all the way, but this closes it all the way too. Look at that. During my video, I actually found out about something about this lens that I didn't know before.
Holy crap.
Oh, very cool. I don't know the purpose of that, but yeah, they both do the exact same thing. Interesting. I don't know why they would want to do that. But anyhow, so I digress. But the 35 f2.8, 5 elements in 4 groups. It's got a horrible close focus distance. So I mean, they make a Vivitar close focus, they call it. It's actually on the branding on the faceplate, which is great for macro. This is not. This is 1.8 meters, so it's like 6 feet close focus. That's pretty ridiculous as far as close focus goes. But again, if you're not, as long as you're, like for me, taking a picture of the faceplate here, I'm probably far enough back to actually get in focus here. It's got 8 aperture blades. Some variations come with 15, which is pretty sweet, but they're also curved aperture blades too, so they make for some nice bokeh. It's a little heavy. It's 369 grams. As I said, a lot of different versions of this particular lens. Again, it's a great bang for your buck, so to speak. So, you get what you pay for, and with these, again, they're very, very economical today. Well, they were economical back in the day too, but today you can find them on eBay for pretty low amounts of money, like $10, $15, $20.
$1 million.
Especially at garage sales and stuff. So let me get a nice sharp. All right, so 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's wide open at 2.8. Now if I go to 5.6, as I did with the other lens, see if we get any better here. That still looks pretty sharp right there. 1, 2, 3. So let's see, comparing side by side what they look like. So that was, again, this is the 135 millimeter 2.8. This was the 28 f2, and you know, again, Vivitar had its heyday. If you're looking for some really economical, pretty good glass, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with these things. Well, you could. You may end up with a bad sample. But for the most part, because they're so cheap, buy another one. If it doesn't work, throw it away. You know, this is heavy enough you could use this as a brick. So, yeah, here's the shots. And here's some shots of Dylan using this lens. And that was pretty much all I wanted to say about Vivitar. Again, could I recommend Vivitar to you? As modesty photography, I would say yes to that. Excuse me while I have a little tequila sunrise. They're very nice drinks. I want to drink it before all the ice melts. Anyway, great little lens. Well, it's not little, it's kind of a big one. But, you know, they're great lenses anyway for what you pay for them. Can I recommend them? Yes. What else can I recommend? How about this? How about some software to edit your photos? Luminar. Luminar AI, soon to be Luminar Neo, is their latest, greatest. I like them. I know that some of the Luminar customers out there complain when they come up with a new version. Oh, I have to buy a new one. Well, like 30 or 40 bucks even when you buy a new one. How cheap is that for something that, you know, it's yours for life, and it's got some great bells and whistles and everything. So complain. I like it. I like their software. It works great for me. If you want a deal on it, because again, they're very economical, but if you want even a better deal, save yourself $10, click on the link below. Save yourself 10 bucks. Makes a little kickback for me while we're at it. Hey, why not? Everybody likes a little kickback. And what else can we say? How about help my channel out? Yeah, subscribe. That's right, the more subscribers I get and viewers and everything, you know, again, I get closer to that thousand subscribers. So subscribe. That's right. So the more you help Dr. Scott, the better life will be for me. And maybe for you too, if you get entertained by watching these types of videos. Because again, I'm no expert on all these things. I'm just sharing what I know about them. And hey, if it helps you out, it helps me out. We all get helped out. So subscribe. And while we're at it, why don't you give a thumbs up too? Because it's my chance with the thumbs up girls. And last but not least, stay safe out there. We're living in a COVID world. COVID's I don't know. It's a nasty virus. You know, I know people think that, oh, my immune system's good enough. Yeah. We'll see what you say when you're laying in the hospital, you know, and saying, oh, I wish I would have taken the vaccine. But anyway, to each their own. You either do it or you don't. But don't be surprised if COVID bops you in the head like a shovel.
Oh my god.
And last but not least, come on back next week, right? Because here at Modesty Photography, we're here to teach you a little thing about photography, maybe a trick or two, introduce you to some vintage lenses, save you some money, and yeah, I'm here for you. Why? Because you belong here. That's right. So this was, what's the name of the show? Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. So you come on back next week and we'll do it again, and we'll talk about something something else to excite you. All right? So take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Here I am,